It is a lie, defunding, and you are hurting our law enforcement and you're hurting our democracy when you're willing to spread lies.
Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo speaking 6 days before Texas Comptroller Glenn Hager ruled county leaders had in fact defunded local constables by clawing back their reserve funds. Now, while budgets for law enforcement have increased modestly during Hidalgo's time in office, critics contend the resources provided were in no way proportional to what was genuinely needed to counter a crime wave of historic proportion. Consequently, restoring public safety is the core component of Republican Alex Mueller's campaign.
What I would say, very straightforward, is Lina, you're anti-law enforcement. You've not supported our law enforcement. You've created a revolving door at the courthouse. She broke our criminal justice system and now is passing the blame.
Okay, last numbers we saw had this race pretty much within the statistical range, 1-2 points. Mark Jones, what happens here?
Texas starts off with a Republican advantage. Harris County starts off with a natural Democratic advantage. So in a normal year, the Democrats should win pretty handily. Now, Lina Hidalgo has some things working against her, both internally in terms of the crime problem here in Harris County and the corruption allegations, and then nationally with the Biden administration, inflation, and Biden's low approval ratings. All of that will make this, I think, a closer election potentially, but Alex Del Moral Mueller still is going to have to close the gap and convince some people who normally vote Democratic to vote Republican this time around. And that's a tall order. Getting close, she might be able to do, but right now she still has a long way to go if she's actually going to win.
Keir, this should have been a cakewalk for Lina, but she's run into some problems, and the crime wave didn't help. Do you think that she's in good position, or is she going to have to fight?
I think I would characterize her as a narrow favorite, but I think she's going to have to work hard to win this race. Probably one of the best things that happened for her is a somewhat improving prospects of Democrats nationally and a more competitive governor's race here in Texas. To the extent people go back to their normal partisan corners in a very polarized nation that we live in a county like Harris, as Mark said, is to her benefit. Another potential opportunity and risk for her is her opponent is not defined to residents of Harris County. Most voters have no idea who she is or know anything about her. That presents a challenge for Hidalgo, for voters who may just see her as a generic alternative to her, but also presents an opportunity for her campaign to define her in an unfavorable way to voters who don't know anything about her.
Charles Blaine, those who oppose Lina Hidalgo seem to be very firm in that opposition. I think that's fair to say. Do you think that her support is soft? I mean, what's your gauge? Because you deal with a lot of voters out there.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of like Mark's polling showed. It's a lot of black voters seem to be in that camp, and maybe it's because of her, maybe it's because just the Democratic Party, but they seem to be solidly in that camp. Some of the others, though, I mean, if you look at her endorsement, she hasn't had a ton of endorsements from other Democratic elected officials. I think that goes to show at least some soft support, or at least some hesitancy among them from coming out and piling on very heavily. Now, she did win the primary with a large margin, so clearly primary voters like her. But one of the things that I think that she's done, and it's been somewhat of a mistake, or it has proven to be a mistake, was how much this office has been elevated and kind of brought to everyone's attention. And now all of the negative things that people are calling out, all the things that she's being criticized over, are getting a lot more attention than they would say when Ed Emmett was in charge, because it just wasn't that visible of a position. And so now everyone seems to know who she is, and they're tying a lot of these issues to her because of that.
Mueller's going to make a big deal about a debate. Mueller has challenged Hidalgo to a debate. Mustafa, would that be a mistake for the incumbent?
No, it's fine. Judge Hidalgo is very smart, very capable of handling any kind of a debate. You had asked earlier in the program for Mark to make predictions. Let me make a prediction. Judge Hidalgo is going to win this November. She's going to win handedly. A lot of the stuff that we've been talking about, structurally, this is a Democratic county, more so than the state is a Republican state. She's well-funded. She's got a strong campaign, and she's going to be the next county judge, as she is today.
All right, Jackie, you buy that, or you think that Mueller's still got plenty of skin in this game and plenty of voters to convince?
Well, of course, Alexandra has plenty of skin in this game. Every law enforcement agency has endorsed her, and there's a reason for that. The crime wave is a serious concern for voters. Yes, Harris County is a blue county, but many of the voters are very concerned about the crime wave. They're concerned about a lot of things that Democrats are soft on. Alex is also appealing to a lot of the younger voters, and she's also appealing to a lot of independents. And so we will see. It is Judge Hidalgo's race to lose. It is a Democrat county, but Alexandra Mealer is definitely going to make it a good race, and it's going to be closer than people think.
All right.